All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TRVL Travel Photography Podcast. This is episode number 6. And with me as the guest for this episode is Gavin Hardcastle. You can see on the screen, we are recording through Zoom for the first time. So apologies if it's shit, but I'm trying out all these different platforms to see which one works. And also trying to figure out the RSS feed to get these podcasts spread out across all platforms. So without further ado, I'm your host, Greg Snell. And with me here is Gavin Hardcastle, taking a nice sip of water there in Nova Scotia. How you doing, Gavin?
Hello, Greg. I'm doing pretty good, mate. It's been a while since we chatted.
It has. Last time was a couple of years ago. We did a very funny Zoom video. Funny enough, I think that was my favorite Zoom call that I've ever done. I would put it as part of this interview, but I'm not putting any B-roll on here. So people might
just have to go back and watch it then.
Yeah, exactly. But it's pretty old now. Anyway, whatever. Maybe I'll put it in the description below. But for those who don't know who you are, introduce yourself. Who's Gavin Hardcastle?
Gavin Hardcastle is a landscape photographer based in Canada who puts out lovely pictures and lovely photography books like this. I'm not even going to warm up. I'm just going to get straight into a plug of my new book. God. Stories within stories.
I thought it was something about awe, inspiring awe.
No, that's the old book. That's Chasing Awe.
Oh, right. You got it there too, huh?
And those are gone. Those are sold out. They don't exist anymore.
You still got one right there.
Well, I've got a few copies just in case I meet like royalty and stuff like that.
Prince Andrew?
But other than that, yeah, it's all about the new book, mate. But yeah, I mean, most people, I guess, know me through my my YouTube channel, Photo Tripper.
Now, this is a travel photography podcast. So you did say landscape, but you don't sound very Canadian. So tell me a little bit about what your opinion is on travel photography.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's the difference, right? What is the difference between travel photography and landscape photography? There's a crossover, isn't there, right? Landscape photography is travel photography, but if you're talking about like travel photography where you're doing like cultural shots, cities, places, people, obviously that would sort of fit into your travel photography. I don't really do much of that, but if I see something that is just gorgeous, whether it's a moment in time that has people in it, or if I see a landscape, then obviously I've got to shoot it. But yeah, I'm not Canadian born. I was born in West Yorkshire, England. And I've lived in Canada. I think it's 18 years now.
Is it 19 years?
18 years, yeah. So I'm a Canadian citizen now.
Amazing. Sorry, I'm talking over you a little bit. Maybe that's the Zoom thing. But you said you're from West Yorkshire?
Yeah, a place called Huddersfield in West Yorkshire.
Okay.
And I was actually just there a few months ago, back in May. I was visiting. And so made the move in 2007 and never looked back, really.
Nice. I actually left Canada in 2009. So we crossed over for a couple of years there. And I think, did you move originally to Alberta, to the Rockies?
No, the first place I moved was Vancouver Island. And then I lived there for many years. I can't remember, like 10 years or something. Yeah. And then I spent 1 year living in Calgary in the Rockies, just over a year. But I missed the island, so I moved back. And then stayed there until 2020. I think it was 22 that we moved to Nova Scotia?
Well, yeah, because we met in 2020 before the pandemic, like right in January 2020. And then, yeah, you must have moved after the pandemic, I would assume, to the church.
Yeah, and it was partly triggered by all of that hysteria and nonsense that happened during that time.
Which is
we won't get into that, will we? Because,
Probably not, no. But it is a travel photography podcast, and like, travel was fucking ruined during COVID, like absolutely smacked in the face. So had a big impact on my business. You drove from the island to Nova Scotia? Because that's like 4 days.
All right. So the story is we were trying to buy a house early 2020.
You and Amanda.
Yeah. So like an idiot, right, when the pandemic hit, my belief was, this is how clueless I am. I thought, this is the time to buy a house because nobody's going to be buying a house now because the world was in absolute disarray, right? So who's going to start buying real estate when the world's in complete disarray, right? And for maybe 2 months that was the case, right? But something happened, and all of a sudden, people decided, no, now is the time to buy our dream home. Now is the time to make all of these changes we've always wanted in life and move out to the countryside and, whatever. People were just splurging, right? So all of a sudden, you went from this very short pause in the real estate market where nothing was selling because people weren't even showing houses. And very quickly, it flipped. And now people were buying houses like lunatics, and there were bidding wars on absolute shit shacks that would never sell at any other time, right? And so that by the time I got all my finances in order, because you know what it's like, well, you probably remember what it's like in Canada. It's a lot worse now than when you were here. Like if you want to get a mortgage, the hoops that you have to jump through to try and get some kind of mortgage to buy a house, it's pretty difficult, right? So by the time all of that was in place, the market had just inflated, the bubble had started to swell, and there's just absolutely no chance that we were going to be able to afford to buy anything like what we needed in BC on Vancouver Island, which is now like a hotspot of real estate. So what do you do, right? You start looking around. Well, where else can we live in Canada? And I knew I wanted to live on the coast. I love the interior. I love being in the mountains, whether it's Alberta or BC. But you've got the wildfires that you have to deal with in the summer, right? So, and I just wanted to be next to the ocean. So then we started looking at the East Coast. We also looked to Newfoundland. I just tried to figure out where we wanted to be. And for the next, 10 months to a year, I was like a professional real estate spotter, right? I became so expert at looking at a listing, figuring out everything to do with it. The topographical maps, what kind of services were there, how long it had been on the market, what it had sold for last time, like everything. And so I should have done it professionally. I probably could have made way more money doing that than a landscape photographer. Anyway, I'm waffling. I'll try and keep it simple. After many offers on different properties throughout Nova Scotia, all of which just fell through for one reason or another, I just got sick and tired of trying to buy these houses. And I'd spotted this church in Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, this rundown old church that was pretty much abandoned. And I thought it was cheap at the time. It wasn't that cheap, really. I think I probably paid too much for it. But compared to anything in BC, it was cheap, right? And I kept going back to this listing that I'd been watching for months, right? Thinking, I'd look at it, I'd look at the pictures, and I'd fantasize like, oh, what could I do with that? What could I build inside of that shell, this beautiful shell of a church, right? So anyway, I got to the point I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to offer them some money and see if they bite. And so I put an offer on it, and they rejected that, but they said, we're open to. So we negotiated a little bit back and forth, and I ended up just buying this church in Nova Scotia, and I'd never even been to Nova Scotia. Like an idiot. I mean, how stupid is that?
No, I think that's amazing. I mean, it's a risk, absolutely, but it's quite the story. I mean, who did you buy it off of? Was it like clergy or somebody, like the town? Who owns the church?
Yeah, it was owned by United. It's a United church.
Is that like a religion?
Yeah, I don't really know much about it. It's just, I think it's like a very sort of tolerant version of Christianity. Like, they're not very strict.
Okay, United Church.
I might be talking wrong. Like, if anybody knows that is watching and they know what United's all about, and I'm talking rubbish, then feel free to correct me. I don't really know. I didn't look into it that much.
Anyway, you bought it off of the United Church. I've heard that.
Yeah, I bought it off them.
It like a bell. Did it have like
the bell's in the backyard. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
cool. Does it have like a graveyard?
No, that was the one thing that was kind of like, that could have been an issue if there was a graveyard, right? There's no cemetery.
Yeah.
So
not that you know of. Like,
not that I know of, right? But I don't know. I've done a lot of digging in the backyard, and I haven't found anything suspect.
Well, fucking keep going, Gavin. Don't stop.
No. Once you've done what you need to do, stop. You don't want to be finding anything that you don't want to be finding, right?
What's the history? How long has the church been there?
It's 100 years old.
Oh, okay. All right. I apologize if you've made a whole bunch of videos about this church that I haven't seen. I think you might have, right? Did you turn it into like a bit of a series, renovating the church?
I should address that, right? I should address that. So I made this channel called Hardcastle Towers, right?
After Faulty Towers?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Which it just took off. It grew 10 times faster than Photo Tripper, which is my business, right? My passion in life. It grew so much better because it was basically a show about a couple of idiots fumbling through a house renovation with no clue what they're doing in rural Nova Scotia, right? So that a lot of people liked watching that.
Yeah, and it's a church. I mean,
yeah. So I don't know how many episodes we did, 5 or 6, and I loved doing it. But I got to the point where putting the videos together took almost as long as doing my main channel, Photo Tripper, and there was no way to monetize these videos. I couldn't make an income from all of this work that I was doing on Hardcastle Towers. So I just stopped. Even though I've filmed a year's worth of content, I've got a full hard drive of Hardcastle Towers footage, but I can't, I've got nothing to sell, right? I don't. So like with Photo Tripper, obviously, I've got my books, I've got my photography workshops, I've got my photography courses, right? There's a means of income which justifies the time and effort that I put into each episode. But with Hardcastle Towers, there isn't. So really what I should have done is I should have joined one of these annoying agencies that email you every day with crappy offers that you just delete and ignore. But try and find a good agency that connects you with brands.
For sponsorships, right?
Yeah. But I can't stand doing sponsorships.
I get a whole bunch of really shitty ones from like new tech companies, like with the best new backpack that you've ever tried, and lights and stuff. It's all kind of bullshit. And the monetization value from YouTube is also not high enough, correct? That seems to be a bit of a misconception in the YouTube world that if you get thousands of views, you are making thousands of dollars. And that's just not the way that it is.
No, I think people like Mr. Beast can make a good income on their ad revenue, but like small operators like you and I, we're just small potatoes, right? So the best that I can expect out of my YouTube ad revenue is to maybe pay for all of my gas money and maybe a couple of flights, right, to somewhere in the world. That's probably about the best I can get out of my YouTube ad revenue.
Do you monetize your videos, your Photoshop?
Yeah, everything I do is monetized, but like it's just if you were relying on that for survival, you wouldn't survive.
No, of course not. I make about $150 a month on YouTube AdSense, and that's with 30,000 subscribers and a relatively good audience that watches every video. But that audience is so much more valuable than fucking millions of views and making, thousands of dollars a month. But actually, for those that are still paying attention, $150 a month. This is 2025 July. So come back to this in 10 years. But it sucks. I mean, ad revenue is terrible. I think most people know that. But now you guys know for reals.
Yeah,
let's go ahead.
We can't complain too hard. Otherwise, we might get in trouble.
By who? By the YouTube algorithm?
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
This is going on YouTube and then Spotify and then RSS feed to the world. Wow. Let's get back to photography. I might have to name this travel photography podcast Gavin's church story, because I am actually interested in the church. I got to go watch Hardcastle Towers now. But yeah, tell me about it, because you obviously are a very talented landscape photographer. You've got a great reputation for being like funny, entertaining, approachable, according to ChatGPT, and creating these beautiful pieces of art. But you do travel to some iconic places. You've been all through the U.S. You photographed Vancouver Island from top to bottom. What inspires you to travel to these landscapes? Like, what is it that you're looking for?
Well, really, there's just one word, one phrase I should use, and that is that I'm always chasing awe,
I
right?
can see it.
I'm always trying to get that,
move it around.
for the benefit of those people that are just listening to this on a, no visual.
True.
I was just holding up my old book there, chasing off. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm after, right? That's I don't know what you would call it. It's not wanderlust. It's this desire to stand in places that you make your jaw drop, and you're just like, whoa, I can't even believe what I'm seeing. To me, being able to witness those places with your own two eyes, that's an absolute gift, and it never gets old. I'm never sick of seeing spectacular locations that just make you glad to be alive. And if you do your research and you time it right, and you're there during moments of beautiful light, then I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, really, does it? It's like this is why I'm alive, right? So, and for me, like before I was a photographer, I was a music producer, and I worked, in my little home studio for almost 20 years, around about 20 years. So I was just locked in this room, right? Often with the curtains pulled, quite dark, just fixated on a grid on a computer, right? And as much as I enjoyed that job, like in terms of my creativity and my artistic outlet in life, because it was very fulfilling creatively, as much as I loved that, after 20 years of being, locked inside of a room where it's quite dark and you've just got the light from a screen, you start to crave nature. You start to crave just being out and witnessing things, right? Just seeing the world. So for me, it's probably the same as with everybody. You just want to see the world and take it all in while you live in this very short window of time during an era which, despite all of our societal problems and all of the shit that's going on in the world right now, it's still, in the grand scheme of things, in time, it's still a pretty awesome window of existence right now. And to have the freedom to go out and I want to go and look at this cool thing. Off you go. You're now standing in front of this cool thing and you're just taking it in. Fantastic. Even better, though, if while you're there, you can just take a quick snap and get a really good shot, which then other people can get enjoyment from and inspiration from. Like it's a cyclical artistic experience where you get to enjoy your moment in time. You then get to share that with other people, and maybe they go there and do the same thing and maybe even get a better shot than what you did.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said. That's the whole idea behind TRVL and travel photography is bringing people out for the travel experience, and photography is just a bonus. And that's one thing that's how I started as well. I mean, it's all about getting out there, being outside, putting yourself in the position to have a jaw-dropping moment, and then get the photo if you can. I mean, sometimes you don't even take a photo. It depends, right? But yeah, I agree 100%. So let's dig into a little bit of details then. How much planning do you do before visiting a location, or like even a video, man? Like, do you storyboard your videos, or are you just winging it? Like, how much planning do you do?
I don't do any planning.
Oh, so you're winging it, really?
I just wing everything. So, all right. So the only planning I'll do is I'll look at the weather, right? I'll look at windy.com, the app. And if it says, let's say it says this location is going to be sideways rain for 3 days. I'll try and figure out, based on my previous knowledge of that location or my research that I've done, well, is that a location that could work with sideways rain? And if it's not, well, then I won't go there. But that's about it. That's about all.
It sounds like you have done a bit of research, though. If you know where you're going, like,
I guess if it's somewhere I've been before, though, right? All that I have to do is I already know. Okay, well, that mountain is not going to work if it's blue sky day. So if the forecast is telling me blue sky day, I am not going to waste my time going to that place, right? So part of being successful as a landscape photographer or travel photographer, it is understanding the location that you're going to go to and what will work. If you know what won't work, then don't go.
And don't go, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that's the extent of my planning, though. I mean, I guess I would probably plan a lot more if I was going to spend thousands of dollars going to a location that I wasn't familiar with and I didn't know the lay of the land. I would probably spend a bit of time on Google Earth looking at the surrounding area, trying to figure out the angles of light, trying to figure out, okay, well, you won't get a nice picture of that monastery from that angle because just off in the distance, there's a giant factory on a cliff, right? That's hideous. So those are kind of details that I would be looking for if it was one of those rare locations that I go to and I do tons of research. But I do believe this, it's going to sound like a bit of a contradiction here, but I do believe that there's something to be said for winging it and either not planning at all or doing poor planning, because I can tell you there's a long list of locations where I've still gone in spite of bad weather forecasts. Like if you relied on the weather forecasts, don't go. Just a total waste of time. And I've still gone, and I've got great shots, right? The other times when I have done my planning, everything looks great on paper, and I've got there, and it's been a total waste of time. So overall, throughout all of my experience, the planning, sometimes it's a waste of time. Sometimes you're better off just taking a risk and going, and just seeing what happens.
Yeah, that's another euphemy for travel. If you're afraid to go to a country that doesn't speak your language, because you're afraid of the cultural barrier, then you don't go, then you never know, right? But if you go and you just sort of figure out how to make it work, then you tend to have a really valuable experience. And I've seen that countless times with passengers that come on tours in South America or in Africa. And it's really nice to see. So I think in landscape photography, of course, I mean, most of the people listening to this or watching this know that, crazy conditions often produce the best photos. So it's almost sometimes a good thing to put yourself out there in a really kind of wild storm or something that's unpredictable, or fog, anything that's going to be uncomfortable, because you'll end up getting something pretty cool.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it's like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I think especially beginner photographers, a lot of beginner photographers, that they're reticent to enter into something that they know is going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to get wet. I'm going to get cold.
Yeah.
Is my camera going to get wet?
Fucking right? Early, sunrise.
Oh yeah, even getting up at 3:00 in the morning for a lot of beginner photographers is just like, that's a big deal, right? But for me now, having done this for so many years, you just shrug it off. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to get soaked to the bone. Couldn't care less. My camera's going to get wet. Don't care. Will I get the shot? All I give a shit about is will I get that epic shot? And I am willing to suffer quite a lot in order to get the shot. The only problem is when you do that suffering and you don't get the shot. Yeah, I'm quite a miserable bastard after that.
Yeah. You don't want to be around Gavin after that. So no. What is the least glamorous reality of your style of photography that people don't know about? Like you can talk about making your videos too. I know a lot of this YouTube channel is kind of intertwined with the photos that you get, right? So what's like the least glamorous part? What do we don't see?
Well, there's two things. There's the least glamorous part of the actual photography is the driving, right? Sometimes you might be driving 10 hours one direction to get to a location, right? So even if you get a fantastic shot, even if you're doing a big hike, that, you could look at that experience as glamorous, but the 10 to 20 hours of driving that you did, like I drove all the way to Texas once from Nova Scotia, took a week, and then I drove all the way back, took a week, 2 weeks of driving. Stupid.
Go to a swamp, right?
To go to a swamp.
Cato Lake.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I loved it. But I didn't.
The driving people don't see, right? You're not filming the driving.
Not really. I mean, you'll film a little bit of it as B-roll, but you can't get across 14 days of driving in a short video, can you? Right?
No, you're right. I mean, that's part of the workshop experience too, actually, is that there's a lot of fucking driving in Bolivia and Mongolia, and you're driving off road. It's bumpy, not very comfortable, dust, that's one thing that I tell people. I'm like, today's going to be a long driving day. We're driving like 5.5 hours, with pee breaks and maybe a little bit of a snack on the way. It can easily turn into 7 hours. If you don't leave at 9 in the morning, 8:30, your day's gone.
And I think for many people, driving that long is quite unusual, right? We kind of take it for granted because we've been doing it so long. We've covered so many miles.
Driven across Canada.
Yeah, I've driven across Canada 4 times now. It's ridiculous. And I said I would only ever do it once. What an idiot. But like it's a bit of a culture shock for especially workshop participants when you ask, you think nothing of saying, yeah, we'll probably spend 5 hours driving today. For most grown adults, like that is not something that they want to do, So you have to kind of explain, before you do the workshop or just as you're getting set up, right, make sure you got your podcasts, your snacks,
headphones,
everything that you need for your comfort, because it's going to be a long one. But I don't even think about it, right, because it's just what I do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in terms of the other least glamorous side of, in particular, putting together the videos, is the amount of time I spend in front of this screen editing videos, right? That is most of my life is editing the videos. And it's a mammoth task that I don't think many people sort of get how many hours go into it.
Well, what do you
I love it.
If you sat down to edit a photo tripper video, what are we looking at? How long would it take you?
It could take 4 days.
Wow, that's really long. Dude, I started editing my last vlog this morning. It took me like 3 hours. 4 days. What are you doing?
I've seen your videos. Obviously, it looks like your videos look like they were edited in 3 hours. I mean, maybe if you spent a bit more time on them, you get a few more views.
Yeah. But still, 4 days is a long time. I mean, if you were thinking about like an actual full-time job that you need to be compensated for that time, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, but you've seen my videos. Well, you've seen some of them, but they're a bit convoluted, right? And that's the problem.
Kind of all over the place. That's true. It's like a puzzle.
It is, and I've dug myself a hole because I like to do these videos where there's these skits with these cringy, awkward moments, and those cringy, awkward moments very rarely are filmed exactly the way that you end up seeing them. There's a lot of cuts. There's a lot of timing that has to be edited in a very precise way. And that, I could spend 7 hours on a 1-minute skit, right? So when you add in all of the actual moments of doing the photography, you've got the drone footage, and then there's the actual editing the images as well. Like I might spend 4 hours editing 3 images that go into this video. So it's just a ton of work, which I'm not complaining. I love it. I love doing it. I just wish I could do it a little bit quicker and maybe make it a bit more profitable so that it wouldn't cost so much in time to make that kind of payoff.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very good example of something that's unglamorous. I wasn't even thinking about the photo editing for my video this morning. I'd done that another day. You're right. Like I'd already edited those photos and it probably took me a few hours to edit the photos. So yeah, it's a very good point. And then if you're adding voiceover as well, multiple different cameras, if you got like a little GoPro or a drone, you're going to add that all in. So yeah, it can take a while. 4 days, I can see now how that adds up. I think for my general vlog style, my editing process is very fast. Like if I want to make a 7 to 12 minute vlog, if I film it in 1 day, I can usually turn it around in about 3 to 5 hours. If you include the photo editing, depending on how many photos are in the video. A lot of people actually outsource that as well. I mean, with your comedic timing, it'll probably be really difficult to find somebody to edit those videos for you.
Yeah, there's no way. I get approached all the time, right?
Oh, people ask you this?
What makes a photo trip a video is the editing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure. Yeah.
So if I outsourced that, even if they did a good job, it would not be what I want it to be. And I know what I want it to be when I'm filming it, right? So unless you had, let's say that, there may exist somebody out there who is a top-notch video editor and an absolutely obsessed photo tripper fan who could recreate exactly how I think, right? And maybe could even do additional things that I didn't even think of. That's like, oh man, that was great. I love the direction that you took that in there. But if they didn't, can you imagine how long it would take me to explain? Okay, cut this here. I might as well just do it myself,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I've heard that from other people too. One of my friends, Mike Corey, fellow Canadian, he's got over 1 million subscribers, and he said he's tried multiple times to outsource his editing, and he ends up spending more time going back and forth with the
Yeah.
editor than it's worth it for him to just sit down and edit the video himself, which I thought was really funny.
So I don't see that I'll ever hand that off.
Interesting.
But you know what? We were talking just before you hit record. We were talking about AI, and
We can go back to
would
it
be
if you want.
interesting. It could get to the stage where what I could do eventually is tell an AI, okay, here's the footage, edit this in classic photo tripper style, watch every single video that I've done, and then give me the finished result, and then I'll make the final tweaks. So maybe like 60 to 70% of the video could get edited by an AI, and then I just refine it for things like the skits or the image reveals and where the voiceover dips in and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
the sponsorships, if you want to pull in the book or whatever, but that could already be in the footage. But no, I agree. I think we're not far away from that. I mean, Gavin and I, before we started recording this podcast, we're just trying to catch up a little bit because we haven't talked in a couple of years. And we quickly got down the rabbit hole of stock photography and stock video, and how, in our opinion, it's just gone. I mean, I think with video AI especially, advertising world is going to totally change, man. Like, commercials for like the Super Bowl, any kind of product, anything, it's going to absolutely be revolutionized in the next couple of years. Copywriters gone, storyboarding, even creative direction, art directors. You just need somebody who knows how to write prompts, and then an editor.
yeah, I think there's still a lot of denial out there about how clever and artistic and creative AI is.
Oh, it's going to be fucking awesome. If they can watch every one of Photo Tripper's videos, right? That's the crazy thing. It's like, wait, what? And AI is just going to like every single one of your videos in a couple hours. That's crazy.
That it's frightening, and it has instant recall, right? This is what is so terrifying about AI.
What's instant recall?
Means that it never forgets anything, and it can immediately recall a memory. So if I'm chatting I use Grok quite a lot.
I guess it doesn't have anything to do with smoking weed then, because growing up in Canada, memories.
But like if I'm talking to Grok about something, right? And let's say I'm talking about, I'm thinking of moving to Argentina. What would that entail, right? Grok will remember and instantly recall details from a conversation I had a year ago that I've forgotten, right? So it'll say, based on what your question was, here's some information. But given your proclivity for landscape photography and your really deep interest in mossy forests, you know what I mean? Like, it'll be able to reference all of these data points that you gave it a year ago or 2 years ago.
About something outside of Argentina.
Say that again?
Like, it's referencing things that it knows about you that you've said in the past, but not specifically about Argentina.
That's right. And then it'll bring it all together. And then it'll also say, and you were also asking me about, tax implications if you were to move to this country. So it'll just give you so much detail with instant recall that it's so much more advanced than what you would get if you were talking to a very intelligent human being with a good memory. No matter how clever that person is, they probably could not access all of that data and as quickly as an AI could. And it's just, to me, it's mind-boggling where this is going to go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be an expert on everything. Right now we try and find experts in their field, but eventually we'll just have one at our fingertips.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's also full of shit. Like I've tested Grok on a few things where it's like,
is that the one from Twitter, Grok?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're all the same, right? A lot of them you can stump them and get them to, tie themselves in knots.
Okay, give me an example.
Themselves.
Give me an example.
I'm trying to give you an example. I was asking it some technical support on how do I update this. I think it was a camera firmware update, and it gave me some really good information. But the information was out of date. So the firmware update that it was talking about was 2 versions ago. So I had to tell it, actually, you're wrong. That is an obsolete firmware. We're now up to version 3.2.1. Can you give me a corrected? Oh, yes, but yes, you're right. Sorry. And then it would give you the correction, right? So I think we're a long way from being fully reliant on it, but as a sort of aggregator of data in a quick response on a subject that you might have to talk to a specialist about and wait for an appointment, that kind of stuff, it's really good at getting you started and maybe taking you in a direction that you didn't know, or preventing you from wasting a whole bunch of time going down some rabbit hole that you were like, you would have found out eventually was just not going to work for you.
Yeah. No, good point. I mean, I chat GPT'd before this interview. If I were to interview Gavin Hardcastle about travel photography and his specific style, what should I ask him? And I sent you the response, which is hilarious. But yeah, apparently, according to ChatGPT, you are approachable. So
yeah, I remember that. That's definitely not a word that I would use to describe myself.
Yeah, nor would I. But hey, it's saying you're often featuring dramatic light, epic locations, and a strong narrative flair. So,
I definitely got that.
So let's get back to the questions here. I did put it out on Instagram asking some of the audience if they have any questions for you. And I got one response here just now asking if you managed to find your missing workshop participant in Iceland. You know what that's all about?
I did, yes. He did show up. He did show up. I'm not gonna name names, but he did show up.
All right, but you found him. Nice.
Yeah, it was a bit late.
If your camera gear was a band, who would they be and why? I think you're shooting Hasselblad now, right?
Yeah, so I don't know any Swedish electro bands.
Dude, electro band.
ABBA. I guess it would be ABBA.
I was just going to say ABBA, right? But are they electro? I guess kind of.
No, they're
like
pop.
Disco.
It would be ABBA or AHA. Those are the only Swedish bands I know. I'm sorry, Sweden.
Yeah, that's all right. By the way, guys, if you are watching this on YouTube or if you're on a platform where you can comment, let us know your thoughts on the AI thing too. I think that's really interesting. I think there's a ton of people out there, Gavin, who know a lot about this subject, and I'm interested on their take on it too, because it will reshape photography for sure over the next 5 years. What else? What's the most ridiculous or unexpected thing that's happened to you on a photo shoot?
Probably you.
Come on. That wasn't a photo shoot. It was a video shoot.
No, you were, well, we were doing photos, but you were doing video. But yeah, I mean, being out on the Badwater Basin with you and Thomas Heaton while you were in character.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, sitting in the lawn chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually remember recording a segment with you, and it was maybe 13 minutes or something. And then I realized that there was no sound, that I just recorded you doing this, no sound. You were not happy about it.
Not very professional, is it, Greg?
That was bad. I've done that a couple times, actually. I even recorded Tom on an interview and did the same thing. It's you think you would learn from your mistakes, but...
Oh, I do it all the time. And you know what? This Osmo Pocket 3.
Pocket Rocket.
Half the time I hit record and I think it's recording. It recorded nothing. And it's always that time when the performance was the best.
Yeah. It's annoying. All right, listen, we're coming up on 40 minutes, which is way too long, but it's always fun talking to you, Gavin. Actually, this was a lot more serious than I thought it was going to be. So I'm impressed. We'll have to try and sketch up a comedy one, because I did watch the videos that you did with Tom where you guys were fighting in the backyard, and that was genius. Absolutely fantastic.
That I've got to give him credit. That was his idea.
Was it? Yeah. He started doing martial arts.
Did he? Which one's he doing?
I don't know, man. I think some kind of I don't know, what do you call it when you're not aggressive, but you're protective, maybe? I don't know. It's I want to say karate. Is that right?
I don't know. But I think actually he mentioned jiu-jitsu when I saw him. So maybe he's doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. So maybe that's why it was his idea to fight you in the backyard.
He wanted to cuddle me, basically.
Because you're a big cuddly bear.
Exactly.
How's Amanda doing?
She's doing good. Yeah. She's doing great. Yeah. She's working in a pub nearby where we live.
Sweet.
So, but I'm not going to tell anybody where it is because I don't want people showing up and giving her grief.
Yeah.
But she did get one. I think some Norwegian guy was in there last month, and she said this guy was in there with his son, and they were kind of looking at her all weird. And she was like, "Why are they looking at me all weird?" And they were there for like a full hour having their dinner, and then just as they were paying and about to leave, they said, "Are you Amanda?" She said, "Yeah." "Oh, we love the channel." And she said, "Well, why didn't you just say something like an hour ago? Why did you look all awkward for an hour?" So yeah, she got the star treatment, but I'm not going to tell you where it is because I don't want weirdos showing up.
I'm not going to go stalk her. Why would I be a stalker? Amanda, wasn't she stalking you? She is the stalker.
She still stalks me now.
I bet she's listening on the other side of the door.
Yeah, it never stops.
Yeah. All right, Gavin, let's wrap it up. So tell me your final thoughts on travel photography and landscape photography, and like what the future holds for you. What is the rest of 2025 looking like?
Well, there's not that much planned other than my photography workshop in the Canadian Rockies in September. There's still a couple of spots available on that. I'm sure there'll be a link in your description, won't there?
Maybe. I mean, is there a commission?
Other than that, Tom and I were talking about perhaps getting together in November at some point. So, but we haven't planned anything yet, but that would be quite fun to just kind of pick up where we left off, because that was probably my favorite video of the year, was that one I just put out where it's me and Tom. We climbed, and Amanda, we climbed up the top of this mountain. We had this fantastic shoot. So if we could do a week of that with just tons of stupid shenanigans and some beautiful photography, I'd be well up for that. We just have to figure out where we're going to go. We don't really know yet, but hopefully we can make that happen. And then I have to go away this winter because you know what Nova Scotia is like in terms of weather. It's pretty bad in the winter. So this winter, I am not sticking around for the whole winter like I have done for the last 3 winters. We are going to go somewhere tropical and warm. Might be Costa Rica. Maybe we'll do some lovely bird photography. Maybe I'll have to buy a macro lens. I don't know. But for the last 3 years, because of the church and the work that we've been doing, we just haven't been able to get away, right? Well, this year we're gonna try and get away at least twice. Just some short breaks, but somewhere tropical and interesting. Maybe we'll get down to Argentina.
And if you end up going, let me know, because I've been to every country in Latin America and I know them all pretty well. So,
well, let me ask you this question then.
Go ahead.
Of all of those countries, as a landscape photographer, where would you live?
I think Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been my go-to answer, because you've got Iguazu Falls and the sort of semi-tropical forest region up near the border of Brazil. And then on the other side, in the north, in Salta and Jujuy and Tucumán, you've got these high-altitude deserts with, salt pans and beautiful mountains and wine country. And then you go down the Andes, and it just changes all the way, from Mendoza and Aconcagua into the Lake District, which is northern Patagonia, around Bariloche and San Martin de los Andes. And then as you go further down, it turns into the Patagonian steppe. And then you've got fucking richtig Patagonia. Sorry, that's a German word, like actual Patagonia, where you're going into Fitzroy, Cerro Torre, El Calafate, El Chalten, and then eventually Tierra del Fuego, the land of fire, Ushuaia. It's amazing.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And the food is good. People are nice. It's safe. The only problem is that they have economic turmoil.
Well, I've heard that that's actually turning around.
Yeah, I mean, Malay has done, I guess, a relatively good job on making it less chaotic. Argentina was under Peronism for like 25, 30 years, and they were just sick and tired of it and needed a change because their currency was just failing completely.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, dude. I remember having to go to Uruguay to get US dollars to come back to Argentina and trade them on the black market for like 6 times the amount of money I would get out of the bank. Yeah. And this was when I was a tour leader. This was like, I don't know, 2014, 2013. Like, this is crazy. It's a long time ago. So
it could be quite a bit better now then.
I think so. Stable. Yeah. I mean, I was there for the Antarctica trip a few months ago, and it was fine. I mean, it was expensive. I was using my credit card for everything and paying like a pretty high rate. But Argentina's great, dude. Chile is also really good. Chile's also a really, really great country. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're talking my language because I might be wanting to escape Canada.
But it's not tropical, man. I mean, it's summer when we're in winter, which is nice, but it's not really tropical. I mean, Iguazu Falls is kind of, but it's not like Costa Rica. Costa Rica is like cloud forest, rainforest, biodiversity.
Yeah.
Volcanoes.
I don't know if I could, I don't know if I could handle full blown tropical because
like the humidity.
You got tons of bugs, right?
Yeah,
tons
lots of insects. Lots of insects.
So maybe Argentina might just be perfect. I better start brushing up on my Spanish.
Yeah, you should do. Yeah, you can start with like puta madre. You know that. You know. All right, we're gonna end this podcast. Okay, we're gonna end this podcast. So, guys, thank you so much for listening to the 6th episode of the TRVL Travel Photography Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Snell. Our guest on this episode was Gavin Hardcastle, and hope you have me back maybe one time in the next couple of years. See how things go.
Well, we'll see. If you get if you get a good audience, it depends whoever you get on after me as well. Like if you get some really boring photographers, maybe not.
All right, man. You have a good day back in Nova Scotia, and take care.
All right, mate. Bye-bye.
Peace.